Welcome, everyone, to Stan Morris Field in Wayne, Nebraska. It's time for National Stole at the Wayne America Fly-In. It's the National Stole Circuit's first ever appearance here. All told, 42 Stole pilots from all over the country have flown here for the rare opportunity to fly in both of the leading Stole competitions, that's Stole Drag and National Stole. Want to take a look at your sectional today? It's KLCG, that's Lima, Charlie, Golf. We're competing today on runway 13. It's 2,070 feet of dusty turf in good condition. That's 120 feet wide. Weather this weekend looks good but challenging with gusty crosswinds in the forecast. An incredibly stacked field this weekend, particularly in the touring and sport classes. And there's lots of Stole legends here this weekend. Steve Henry, Hal Stockman, Warren Grobelar, Jeff Pohl, Austin Clemens, Jaden Newman, Kyle Bushman, and more. They're all here. Keep an eye on Dan Reynolds, fresh off his impressive numbers at Valdez. And also, watch for hometown favorite Colin Kaniva to put in some real work. He knows the fields and sandbars around here, but will it help him on the turf? We're just about cleared for takeoff. The pattern is clear. The line is painted. Let's kick this thing off. That's right, everybody. It is time to get pumped, get excited for the finals here at Wayne America Fly-In for National Stole. I'm looking at the beautiful crowd braving the winds right now. They're all ready to go. Everybody wave. We can see you. For the viewers at home, wave to the cameras. That's right. We're ready for some awesome Stole action. If you didn't know, my name is Ryan Dombrowski. You can find me all over the internet as Super Arrow. And I'm excited to bring this to you from the studio, but in the Wayne, at Wayne, my good friend Corey Robin is on the ground, ready to go and tell us more about what's happening play by play. Now we are getting up ready for the sport class, Corey, and the sport class was thick in qualifying yesterday. We had, I don't even know, 13 pilots compete in the sport class, narrowed it down to 6, and I've just heard in my ear that Nick Ardillo, who was qualified there, you see he's the 5th number on the lineup there, is also not competing right now. So things are getting a little tight. Let's look at the lineup. Jimmy O'Neill in the Rands S20 Raven, newcomer to the series this year and just mopping the floor with everybody.
And, you know, not surprising, Jimmy O'Neill comes from a competitive racing background. He is no stranger to the pressures and the exhaustion, the fatigue, the mental fortitude that it takes to compete. So I expect a lot of great things from Jimmy in his future, not only leading the sport class this year, but I expect him to upgrade equipment and get into that unlimited class in short order. I'm really excited. I've not seen the likes of Jimmy O'Neill in the field yet. He is employing some advanced technologies in his aircraft. It's called the Airball. It is top secret right now. He's in development with a super secret Google engineer to do that. And it's just amazing some of the things that we're doing on shoestring budgets in the backcountry and bringing that technology to other aspects of aviation, and I'm really excited to see how that piece of technology develops. I might be letting the cat out of the bag a little bit by saying it, but I am completely unafraid to let people know all the deep and dark secrets of Stole, because that's what it's all about. Here we go. This is Jaden Newman in her yellow and silver Carbon Cub. She is known to be such a great competitor, a great addition. She's a favorite here at National Stole, and also competes at the Arkansas competition in Arkansas later on this year. Another really fun competition to watch. And again, Calvin Kaniva. I keep calling him Calvin because we talk about his son a lot. His son is in the Navy. His name is Calvin, but this is Colin Caniva in his 2011 Cub Crafters Carbon Cub SS.
And Corey, while we were running through that, Jimmy O'Neill actually jumped the gun a little bit there and launched before he was released. That's the second time we've seen that today. That is under review by the organizers and judges to see whether or not they will DQ this run for him on that one. But you're absolutely right about him. I mean, looking at his scores yesterday, Jimmy O'Neill putting in unlimited class level scores already. So we'll have to see what happens with that as the judges take a look. But
and this is not the rookie class, and so I expect the officials to be a little bit hard on Jimmy here. At the very least, he's going to get a slap on the wrist. We cannot be having that kind of stuff around here. That is not okay. But here we go. We've got Jimmy O'Neill approaching, and even though he did jump the gun a little bit, and we did issue him a warning, and we're still waiting back on what's going on, let's watch as he comes in because he does some really impressive landings, very stabilized approaches. The winds are all over the place right now. So let's watch Jimmy mate airplane with grass. So, yeah, he is going to get a DQ on this first round. We just got word from the race officials that this first round for Jimmy O'Neill, unfortunately, will not count because of that advanced takeoff. A little bit of a gun jump there, like Ryan mentioned. So this is a practice round for him.
Yeah, so he'll be issued a warning for that this time, and in the future, that may be a DQ for the entire round. But for now, since we're not in the rookie class, issuing him a warning for that. So just losing this first round, that would have been a really nice run. That was a 58-foot takeoff and a 75-foot landing. A good first attempt for Jimmy there. So here's Rick Boardman now, low and to your left.
Absolutely. Rick is a great pilot. Had a chance to go fly on the sandbars with him. He was one of the people in our crew that I've been mentioning all day. Just a super fun pilot. You're going in there very, very heavy. Everybody was full with passengers, but we had such a great time on the North Platte River up there. And here comes Jaden Newman. Beautiful profile of those two aircrafts against the Nebraska sky. Both Jaden and Colin Caniva. Just beautiful. I love airplanes.
Airplanes are great. Rick Boardman on the board now with 171. Jaden Newman, of course, we've seen her a lot. You mentioned yesterday that she has been doing lots of incredible flying at places like Arkansas back in 2020. Here she is. She says, bested only by her mentor, Steve Henry, back then. And that looks like a scratch.
Yeah, unfortunately, a scratch for Jaden on that first one. She's pushing really hard. I think she's very hungry. But Jaden's really young. I'm really excited to follow her career in aviation, whether she chooses to go the airline route or do something else. No matter what she does, I think she is one to watch. So make sure you look her up on social media. And speaking of somebody to watch, Colin Caniva, Old Green Plane, the host of that TV show, putting on a clinic here in two different classes. He obviously flew earlier today in the Legend Cub, and he's about to put in a fantastic landing in his Carbon Cub SS.
Obviously, the weight of those three scratches really weighing on him. We'll see what happens with this one. It looked good to me.
In my conversation with Colin here in the booth after those 3-in-a-row scratches, and he looked at the scores, and he knew that if he wouldn't have scratched, he would have won that class. He was visibly upset. So I expect him to fly a little bit more conservatively, but he's going to get some scores on the board like that one right there with a 90s 2-foot landing roll. He's got a score up on the board, so I expect him to turn up the heat a little bit more and keep pushing.
And just to be clear, not just a score on the board, but currently holding first place. But really anyone's game still here in the sport class for National Stoll because we've got 2 scratches on the board and we have at least one competitor coming back to take a stab at things in the next heat for sport class.
Absolutely. And here we go with Jimmy. Here we go with Jimmy O'Neill. I'm very excited to see his run today. I want the best for all these competitors, but I get really excited when I see somebody that's this hungry for victory and who's got his sights set at the extreme height of competition. I know he's not just looking at this sport class. .58 feet, very consistent takeoff rolls for Jimmy. That matches his first takeoff roll. Here's Rick Boardman, his first takeoff, 74 feet. That one looked very close to the same as well.
Okay, and so just some information coming in to my ears here. Jimmy O'Neill again launching without being released by the Air Bosses on that run. So it sounds like he's going to get to run a third time, but this second run DQ'd again because he's launching without the go-ahead from the Air Bosses. So not sure what's happening there with Jimmy, but a real bummer with the second false start.
You know, I have to imagine there's some sort of a miscue going on the line with Jimmy, because I know him to be laser focused, and maybe he's just not waiting for the radio call, and he thinks that the thumbs up that he's getting from Lacey that he's on the line properly is an okay to take off. I'm wondering if we just need to clarify with him that he needs to hear from the boss before he takes off.
I can hear see the judges in the control room discussing what to do with him there and how to address it. So here he is now, Jimmy O'Neill on final approach. And while he does that, I am going to talk a little bit about some of our sponsors. You've heard me talk about them before, but we love them so much we should mention them again. First, Ladd Gardner Aviation Insurance. Can't say enough about their support for their aviation protection. Let's talk about Legend Aircraft. You saw them in the MOAX just cleaning up. Loved watching them. Hartzell Propeller. Classic aviation brand. Just love seeing what they are doing there. So that's
wow, that is a great
Propeller.
landing from Jimmy O'Neill. Little bit of a brake fade on his right brake. Of course, that one will not count because of the false start situation, but look at that fantastic landing performance from Jimmy O'Neill. If he can get it together, he might be able to get on that board and steal place on his third attempt. But right behind him, Rick Boardman coming in his short final in that 2015 beautiful yellow and black Cub Crafters Carbon Cub SS. Oh, wow.
Watch him drag that tail wheel there. Oh, come on. Come on.
Darn it. I'm seeing a scratch from the officials, even though the entertainment factor was there from Rick Boardman. We are...
Oh, it's close to me on the replay.
Oh, my goodness. It's just a heartbreaker. Yeah, that's clearly a scratch from the replay, about a foot short, where you can see clearly the compression of the rubber in his tires. What a bummer for Rick Boardman, because that was a fantastic 67-foot landing. Here comes Jaden Newman. She's really going to need to put up a good score here. She scratched on her last landing, so she needs to get on the card.
Jaden Newman, McFarland Aviation, MT Prop.
Acme Aero as well on her shocks. Oh, there's another scratch for Jaden Newman. I got to imagine she might be feeling the nerves a little bit today. I'm feeling the wind pick up a little bit for Colin Kaneva's landing. Nice, stabilized, low approach. He's getting it down into the ground effect. The Carbon Cub loves ground effect. It feels like you're flying on a marshmallow cushion. It's so dramatic. Oh, a scratch for Colin Kaneva on a great landing as well. Holy cow, these guys are pushing it very, very hard, but a fantastic landing for Colin there. You know, this is an interesting round. All 4 competitors scratched on this one. Ryan, what do you make of this?
I mean, what's really interesting is that we have a third place spot just sitting wide open. So strategically, I'm wondering if I were me, obviously you have, another heat coming up, but do you put just a super safe one on the board just to slot into third place? Because that's sitting wide open right now.
Just having a conversation in the booth here with a couple of people. Everybody is a little bit shocked by that last round. It's very, very rare to see 4 competitors in a row not put up a score, but that's a testament to how hard these pilots are pushing themselves and their equipment today. Absolutely fantastic flying, but we have got to get 2 more people up on the board. So here's the situation. Neither Jimmy O'Neill nor Jaden Newman have a score. They will not be on the podium unless they're able to get one here. And so Jimmy O'Neill's going to be very, very careful right here. He's going to wait for
I'm
a clear.
watching here. Really want to make sure he does not get completely DQ'd.
Yeah. He's got to get a clear radio call before he throttles up. I think they're making him wait a little bit.
He has been properly released. Now he's waiting.
There we go. He has a release. Okay, it's looking like Jimmy's going to put in a score. Unfortunately, that takeoff was quite a bit longer than his previous ones.
True.
So that one's probably in the neighborhood of about 80 feet, unfortunately. His first 2 coming in at 58 feet. Let's wait for the official distance. As Rick Boardman, right at 80 feet. Boy, I called that one. So Rick Boardman currently in second place is about to put together a great takeoff. Same distance it looked like exactly to Jimmy O'Neill's takeoff. This is just super close today.
Another beautiful yellow airplane here. Here comes Jaden Newman.
I'm very hopeful for Jaden Newman here. I want to see her on the podium. I think it's good for aviation to see the young people and the females get involved. This is so exciting for me to participate in this and see these skilled pilots and competitors get out here and do it. And while we're doing that, as Colin lines up, let's take a moment to recognize all the volunteers, all the officials, the camera operators, the people behind the scenes to put this all together and bring this content to you at home and also here locally. What a fantastic team we have. Colin Kaneva getting after it on that takeoff.
Going for it, Colin. Yeah, that's right, Corey. We've got so many people that help make this possible, from the folks in the broadcast booth, the scoring, all the camera people, everyone you mentioned. And I just want to give a shout out to the folks joining us at home and here at Wayne. Obviously, we couldn't do this without you either. This is all for you, and we love that you love it. I'm going to quickly just talk about a few of our sponsors that also help us make this happen. We're talking about Hartzell Propeller. They're built on honor. First through third place class winners at each event win entries into a drawing for Hartzell Prop at the end of the year. We mentioned Duke Propellers. You saw them on display during the Unlimited class. Love Duke Propellers and their support. Designed in France, assembled in the USA. And FlightHelmet.com. That beautiful flight helmet up for grabs in our booth. What are your thoughts on that one, Corey? I saw you react to it. What were your thoughts on that one?
I'm a little, unfortunately, I'm a little bummed on that one, to be honest with you. I really am a huge fan of Jimmy O'Neill. I'm ready to buy the swag, the T-shirts, and everything, but I think he just turned in another scratch, which completely removes him after dominating in the qualifiers. To see this today is a very big disappointment for me personally. I know for him and his family that came all the way from Southern California to be here, that's got to be a big disappointment for them too. But hey, let's pick up the pieces and do it again next time. Rick Boardman, with a fantastic 57-foot landing. The competition's not over.
No, I mean the Jimmy O'Neill upset is I am shocked. I'm shocked at how that could happen, but it's live sports, right? It's a live sports thing, so anything goes. But man, yeah, just like really, he's so new to the series too, and just dominating already. So it's just a kind of a bummer to see.
Yeah, it really is. And this is another one that I'm super hopeful to see a score from. Jaden Newman, 2 scratches in a row. We can't let it be a three-peat. I'm really hopeful she plays it a little bit conservatively because it's third place if she does. Maybe.
Probably. Maybe probably.
Nah, she got third place right there. She earned it. That's Jaden Newman. A little bit longer on the landing than I think that she wanted. But that does put her on the board because she did not DQ, and I'm happy to see that for her.
Now, let's not forget there is another heat with at least one other aircraft competing, so it still could be an upset. But, yeah, it goes back to that. Oh, whoa, look at that. Look at Jaden's score that just populated when Colin slides in on his locked-up tires. Jaden Newman not in third, but in first place.
What? That is fantastic, you know. That is a great performance and coming out of nowhere for Jaden Newman. I didn't even see that one coming. And Colin Kaniva even putting together a fantastic landing, making it tight. I'm really interested to see what his landing was to see if he even can overtake Jaden Newman. Just waiting for the official word on Colin's landing, and he did not do that. He will not move up into first place, but he is still strong with an 89-foot landing, a 59-foot takeoff on that round. And so for his combined score of 148, that solidifies him in currently third place. But keep in mind, so it was Nick that dropped out, if I remember correctly. So we still have John Hakala in the Zenith 701, Big Tuna still coming up.
And I've just heard that Nick Ardillo may be returning to competition. Not sure what the story about that is, but we may have both of them coming in to upset things for this first heat. And while we do that, I'm going to try to just give a little more appreciation to all the folks that have helped us. Yeah, there's Nick Ardillo taxiing to the line. Lift Aviation, we talked a lot about the shoes and the helmet. They're giving away helmets to the annual champion of each class. So big thanks to Lift Aviation USA for their help. Sarasota Avionics, you want that Garmin stuff in your plane, they're the place to go. The Garmin watch, InReach, and USB charger provided by Sarasota Avionics. We really appreciate their help. Here's Nick Ardillo off short. Ooh, it's going to be tight.
Absolutely, Ryan. That was a really great takeoff for Nick Ardillo, kicking off this final round of the sport class. And Big Tuna getting up on the line, too. I'm really excited to see. That's a 50-foot takeoff for Nick. Now, that is the shortest takeoff that might count if he can put together a landing in this round. Big Tuna with a high alpha takeoff there. That was a fun one to watch. Look how thick the Zenith's wings are. I'm always amazed. I think that they're just such a fun design to look at because they're just so unique. They have such character and just a very interesting airplane to see.
There's Nick Ardillo on the downwind leg. Speaking of the downwind leg, that's not a great transition. Let's talk about USA Trailers Direct. I don't know. I'm struggling for transitions right now. USATrailersDirect.com. We got to thank them so much. Get the right trailer for your job with USA Trailers Direct. Check them out in Colorado, Oklahoma, and Georgia. They've got flexible financing, convenient locations, and knowledgeable staff. Again, they donated that trailer, and we love them for it. Also, Rugged Radios, air bosses, production staff, line judges, all of them at National Stoll communicating with Rugged Radios. And they've got a big background in off-roading and motorsport racing. We appreciate their help. Flying Eyes. Corey's got the Flying Eyes on his eyes. They're Flying Eyes sunglasses. And we love them because they're great for pilots. They're engineered for pilots, and we love it. Here's now Nick Ardillo right on the line, basically locked up on those brakes, just sliding and sliding and sliding.
Absolutely. And Nick put in a pretty good landing there, carried a little bit of extra energy. So I don't know that he'll be happy with that landing necessarily. A great landing in the backcountry. You always want to carry a little bit extra or a little bit extra energy in the backcountry. But coming in at 178 feet, that's not going to be competitive in this crew. But here comes John in Big Tuna. Really love watching his high angle of attack approaches. The winds are a little bit rowdy right now, as you can see by the dipping and dodging of the wingtips. He's got to keep it in the air.
Oh.
Darn. That was a real tough one.
He was working for it all the way to the bitter end. Almost recovered it, too, is what it looked like there, but...
Yeah, that's super difficult. When you get behind the airplane, there's just no better way to explain it. He just got behind the airplane a little bit, got behind the power curve a little bit too deep. We want to be behind the power curve, but we can't also get behind the airplane. So you got to just stay ahead of it. You can't let it fall out from underneath you. And that's something Big Tuna's got to get a handle of before he's able to put a score up. We're seeing a lot of scratches this afternoon. It's a testament to the challenge of these conditions. That right crosswind playing a big factor. We're seeing every single pilot line up on the extreme left side of the runway. And then that's bringing some unique challenges to the landing as well, because we're seeing scratch after scratch after scratch. I'd be interested to know if we're going to break a scratch record at National Stoll today.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. We'll have to count them up. Okay,
wow.
There's Nick Ardillo. Nice and short there.
Absolutely fantastic takeoff from Nick Ardillo. He'll be happy with that takeoff. We've got to clean up those landings a little bit. And I'm going to be ready here for another high alpha Big Tuna takeoff. I'm a huge fan of this airplane and the pilot.
Big Tuna takeoff. You should trademark that.
The high alpha Big Tuna takeoff.
Woo,
fantastic.
Doggy.
Just watching him fly right off the grass there.
You know what I want to point out, too, is you really appreciate is he did high alpha until he was off the ground, and then he eased it back into a safe place, right? We don't need to hang it on the prop. It's fun for style points, but not always the best for competition safety. So appreciate that as soon as he's off the ground, he's putting that nose back down and getting to flying speed there.
Absolutely. That is a good point, and that is something that they've made a point of emphasis in the pilot briefings. The Air Boss does not want people doing those extreme steep takeoffs. We have seen pilots get into a little bit of trouble doing that, not necessarily a safe thing to do, to whip your airplane up at the lowest, slowest possible speed. So we don't necessarily encourage it. You're not going to do it in the backcountry, so you shouldn't do it here. You know, we want to practice skills that are safe, that we want to take out into the wild. And so that's why we don't encourage things that we wouldn't do elsewhere.
Nick Ardillo's got a lot of ground to cover if he wants to catch up to Colin Caneva.
But he's got a very good approach here. I'm not seeing that he has the extra energy necessarily that he had on the last one, but still a little bit long of a roll for him, playing a little bit conservative because he wants his score on the board. But I don't know that that's going to do it because Colin Caneva is really known for those short landings in that Carbon Cub.
Here's Big Tuna coming around the bend onto final approach.
And I'm just watching those wings rock back and forth on Big Tuna. He's working hard in that cockpit to keep that thing stabilized and under control. He did scratch on the last one, so he's hungry for a good score on this one.
A little burst of power to keep it in the air.
And that'll be a good score for him. 80 foot on the takeoff roll, though. It seems like the wind is playing a little bit of a factor. And then that landing being over 100 feet, coming in at 105 feet, is just not going to be enough to put him into the leaders board. But it gets him on. It gets him a score, which is great. So right now, the current standings coming into the last. Wait, was that the last round? No, we still have one more for these guys.
We got one more, yeah.
Yeah, so we still have Jaden Newman in the lead with a combined score of 133 feet in her Carbon Cub. Rick Boardman at 135, Colin Caneva 148, with Nick at 181 and John at 185 in Big Tuna. So both pilots bringing up the rear here in the sport class. Still plenty of room to improve here in this third and final attempt to get onto the podium.
I think that was shorter for Nick Ardillo. We'll have to see. Previous takeoffs 52 and 59 feet. Actually,
looked a little longer.
100%. I was 100% wrong. It was 70 feet.
I'm 100% wrong 100% of the time. So that works out great. So here's John with Big Tuna. His last takeoff at 80 feet. His one prior to that 65, but he had a scratch. That is another good takeoff. Probably in the same arena as 80 feet on his previous attempt. So we'll see what happens if they're able to move up in the standings. Both pilots needing to make up about 30 feet on their landing in order to take Colin Caneva off that podium.
Let's talk about a few of our sponsors real quick while we go base to final there. We need to talk about Committee Coffee. Committee Coffee's small batch coffee aiming to make specialty coffee more accessible to the everyday consumer. They're law enforcement owned and a brand new sponsor to National Stoll. And they're donating coffee as prizes. So use coupon code STOLL when making your purchase at committeecoffee.com. We also want to talk about Flight Outfitters. Really appreciate Flight Outfitters support. Prizes for first through third place class winners for all your Flight Outfitters stuff. You can use referral link over at nationalstoll.com. So love their support. Here's Nick Ardillo now, right on the line.
It's a great landing for Nick, but I don't think that's going to be enough to get to Colin Caneva because his landing roll was about as long as Colin's entire score. So that's not going to be enough for Nick to move up. Let's see what John can do because he does have an opportunity with a nice short takeoff of 69 feet. So let's do a little bit of math real quick. What is his distance that he needs in order to beat 148 feet, Ryan? Not to put you on the spot.
I was totally distracted there, Corey. I have no idea what you said because I was talking to Race Control about something. What did I miss? What joke did I miss?
Oh, I was just asking you what he needs to do in order to take Colin out. But let's just watch and see what happens. That's a fantastic landing performance from him. probably in the neighborhood of about 80 feet on that landing. So that is going to be very, very close. It's going to come down to this.
It.
Ooh, it's hard to tell.
Oh, it may
on the
be a
replay.
scratch. We'll see.
They're calling his landing at 78 feet, but they have not made a decision whether or not it's a scratch.
Sounds like it's up for review in the booth. While they review it, let's talk about AirTech Coatings. You can see it reviewing on the replay at home. They're calling it a scratch for.
Oh, that's
for
a
John
heartbreaker.
On that one. That is a heartbreaker.
I will.
That is definitely a
So as
bummer.
we compile the scores here, let's talk about AirTech Coatings. AirTech Coatings makes paint fly, and we can't thank them enough of National Stoll. If you want that wet look on your fabric-covered airplane or any other airplane, give them a look, give them a shout, give them a look. Let's go to this.
You know, let me reveal some math here for you, just to
go
put
for it.
something into context here. If that round would have counted for John, and I don't mean to break his heart, he would have beaten Colin Kaniva by 1 foot, ladies and gentlemen. 1 foot. But he scratched, so Colin Kaniva in third place. What's our final score on the sport class?
And Corey, you asked the question before, how many total scratches? 29 scratches. So it may be a new record in terms of scratching in National Stoll today. Which is absolutely incredible. Everybody, wow, what an intense finals here at Wayne America for National Stoll. It has been so intense. So many scratches, so many heartbreaks, so many upsets in the last final round. We cannot thank you enough. Thank you very much to all of you in the stands. Thank you very much to all of you viewing at home. And thank you very much to, you can see the credits rolling right here, the crew, the volunteers, everyone who makes this possible, including all of the sponsors that we've been talking about all day. Congratulations to the competitors. What an exciting time. Corey, I can't thank you enough for joining me on the mic this weekend. It's been an absolute pleasure. Where can people find you?
You can find me all over social media, but primarily on YouTube. My handle on social media is Fly Corey. Thank you so much for coming out. Take care of yourselves the rest of today and beyond. If you're here at Wayne America Fly-In, there's plenty of more action for you with Stoll drags. Make sure you take an opportunity to refresh yourself and make your way over to the other areas of the airfield. Check out all the vendors and have a great time. Visit the National Stoll merchandise booth. They are still open. And also stick around for the awards ceremony later tonight, where these pilots will all be crowned the victors. And we will reveal the most consistent pilot of the competition.
Well, I can't wait for that, everybody. My name is Ryan Dombrowski. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here with you today. You can find me at Super Aero on YouTube and Super Aero Flight on Instagram. Would love to see you there. Come chat about Stoll and everything that you love about aviation. Would love to keep the conversation going. We'll see you at the next Stoll event coming up in just, I think in July, right? Minnesota's coming up, and then obviously Sodbusters just before Oshkosh. So it's going to be a wild and crazy season. The summer's just getting started. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.